Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Lazy Cat Reactions. This is season 10, episode 14 of Heartland, titled Written in the Stars. Mallory reveals to Lou and Jack the real reason behind her visit. Georgie tries to move on following her breakup with Adam. I said about Georgie and Adam in the last video, so I'm not really going to reiterate, but it says, reveals to Lou and Jack the real reason behind her visit. Well, she kind of talked a little bit about it to Jack in the previous episode, you know. Said that she lived with 4 roommates, her job might be posh but doesn't pay well. And I kind of wondered that too, like, she's working in this boutique, she probably isn't getting paid a lot. But then depending, I guess, on maybe the type of job, because I think there are some places where if you do work in like a posh, you know, posh store or something, you might get paid decently, depending probably on where you are and whatnot. But like she said, barely make ends meet and everything. So, and of course, as we saw at the end, Jake showed up. So she and Jake have been on again, off again. I'm guessing that they're going to be on again probably by the end of the episode. But it is, of course, great to see her and Jake. Hopefully they're back to stay. And of course we're getting closer and closer with the baby being born. And you know, I like how Amy and Ty were talking, and Ty said just a few weeks. So, you know, obviously, my guess is that they are going to be offered to stay longer. Maybe not, but that they're going to be offered to stay longer there in Mongolia, and Bob might stay. But Ty obviously won't. He'll be like, no, this was a great experience, but I got to get back to my pregnant wife. But I know Amy misses him, which is understandable, but I do think it was good that he went. And some people watching the show may not have agreed with him leaving, but I think it was good. It's kind of his last bout of freedom before the baby comes, and he's tied down with that. Because while he might be able to do it after a couple of years, might be able to do something like that after a couple of years when the kids are older, it's still going to be harder for him to do it when a child is in the picture. I actually heard something on the radio today, as of time of filming, where they were asking, like, what do you wish you had known before you had your first baby? You know, like, what's some advice to give people? And, you know, some people were saying things, or, you know, like, one was talking about, I guess, things happening, your baby's spitting up, or other ways that babies, you know, extract stuff. And, you know, just kind of advice that they're giving to this woman who is due in January. And I'm just thinking, you know, nothing actually prepares you. So no matter what advice she's getting from people, it's good advice, but she's going to be so overwhelmed and so over everything because of this baby. And so, you know, it's good that Ty is doing this now, because yeah, when the baby is born, of course, he and Amy really are not going to have a lot of time to work on the horses. He will still be able to go and leave and go to work, but she's going to be taking care of the baby, so she's going to have trouble continuing working with the horses because the baby's going to be in the picture. A baby changes everything. So some may agree, some may not agree with Ty going, but I'm glad he did, because it's basically his last bout of freedom. Let's get started.
On Paris like that.
Yeah, you shouldn't have.
You return my phone calls.
I needed time to think.
Hey, Scott. Nice to see you.
Scott, Jack, Amy, sorry for dropping by without calling. I got a voice in the trailer. I was hoping you'd take a look at it.
Yeah, of course.
I'd appreciate
Hey, sorry, I knocked, but you didn't. What?
I'm just...
I don't mind coconut. It's just that vanilla is my favorite.
Back up.
That's not what you meant. Jake and I are getting married.
So... She's just so casual about it.
Wow, that's
Doesn't have a ring.
right?
So did he not?
still telling everybody about us in front of him.
They were little kids. They've been building that up.
I'm crying, but yet she doesn't regret it. Bullshit. And he is right, you know, she's like, you're not gonna say anything. He's like, you broke up with me. It's like, yeah, valid point. He doesn't have to say anything. What can he say? You made the decision to break up with him, so I do think she could be a little nicer to him, a little more civil. He makes a valid point. I don't want to have to come back later to get my stuff. Might as well just get it all now. But yeah, I'm like, sure, yeah, you don't regret it. You don't miss him. Bull fucking shit. And yeah, you know, Amy was saying, oh, first thing when Ty and I got married was, when are you gonna have kids? When are you gonna have kids? Because kids are the end all be all of, I mean, it's like as soon as a couple gets married, it's always about when are you gonna have kids? And it's like, why can't people like not ask that question and just let the couple enjoy being married? You know? And like, you could tell Mallory wasn't really up for that. And I'm thinking, maybe if Mallory and Jake do stay, maybe they will be the child-free couple, you know? Because I would love to have some child-free couples, more child-free couples, or child-free persons in shows. You know, we already have Lou, who has 2 kids, and now, of course, Amy and Ty are going to have one. And granted, Mallory is more of a side character, but still, it would be nice, maybe, if she and Jake would decide, you know what, yeah, we don't want to do this. But she even said in the last episode about not returning and staying there in Hudson, and now all of a sudden she's like, well, I don't know if I want to stay, I want to travel. And I'm like, you can still stay there in Hudson. You don't have to travel all the time. I mean, it's probably be nice, but you know, I of course enjoy traveling. I haven't traveled that much, but I enjoy traveling. But at the same time, it is also a pain in the ass. So, you know, there is something to be said for staying at home, putting down roots. And maybe once she would be married and have a house with Jake, maybe she would be like, you know what, I don't feel like going anywhere. Let's take a year off or so, have time together in our house, and then maybe do some traveling. I like the cake.
It wasn't enough time to order a real wedding cake, but she...
That's scaring her. Everyone looks over at him. Suddenly she's heading back.
Yeah, that's it. Keep moving.
And she and Jake do need to discuss, because break up at the drop of a hat. You don't necessarily have to break up.
No offense, Ty, but your fashion sense has kind of gone downhill. You look a little homeless.
Well, it's good to see you too. Can you put Andy back on?
Bye.
Hey, you look busy. I'll let you go. I love you.
I love you too. Miss you. Aw, ain't so adorable.
Okay. All right, bye, Bob.
Well,
I love him. I have to go.
there you
Well,
go.
where are you going? I'm gonna go find Jake. Maybe it's not too late. Mallory.
like I said, Jessica Hamley, I saw a picture of her on Instagram. I mean, she has really turned into a beautiful woman. I'm just like, damn, when I see her pics. You know, and she's really pretty here. I'm glad to see that she finally kind of got the revelation. I'm thinking, did she never tell Jake that she loves him? No. But, you know, she said he would never stand in my way. You know, I like how Amy's like, yeah, that's kind of what marriage is, supporting, which she's right, you know. You support each other. You know, my husband used to write. He hasn't written in a long time. But I've always tried to be supportive and encouraged him to write. Because I always thought that that was great, you know, if he wanted to write, you know. But he never has. I might suggest that to him and say that's something he may want to look at in the new year. Maybe consider writing again, even if it's just short stories. But, you know, like, they're right about that because he was supportive of me starting my channel. You know, I mean, I probably would have started it anyways without the support. And to be honest, when I told him my plans that I had wanted to do this, I was expecting pushback. But he was just like, cool, you know? I mean, obviously he doesn't know that much about it. You know, he knows basically what I've told him from what I've learned doing my channel. And what I continue to learn. But he's been nothing but supportive. And that's how it should be. Now, granted, you know, when you are married, there might be times where there might be obstacles. And you might have to be like, because sometimes someone has a thought or maybe a job offer or something, and they don't totally think it through. And so sometimes you do need that opposing voice. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're not supportive. It might just mean that there are avenues and stuff that you still have to explore. You know, kind of like, granted, Mitch and Lou are a different situation. But for example, let's say that they were married and he got a job in, or was offered a job in Calgary, and he really wanted to take it and it was a great idea. Maybe it would work. But Lou would be there to say, well, these, you know, you just need to think about this. And maybe it would work out better for them. They'd both be like, yeah, okay, let's do this. Or maybe it wouldn't. I think one reason why it never worked out, why it didn't work out, I should say, I don't want to say never, but why it ended up not working out between Peter and Lou, is that Lou was never really supportive of Peter. You know, when he got that job in Vancouver, she of course didn't want to leave Heartland, which was valid, and I still think that they could have made the relationship work. Like what I was saying before in like season 8 or 9 or whatever, she could have flown to Vancouver to spend time with him. And then of course he could have flown back. Kind of like how Monica and Chandler did it on Friends when, for that short amount of time when Chandler had his job there in Tulsa. They made it work. He flew back every weekend. And then that one time Monica did go visit him. So they could have compromised and they could have made it work. And so that's just what I'm saying, is that there might be some obstacles that you go through as a married couple, but you find a way to get around those obstacles. You either push through them or you find another way around. Amy and Ty, that was kind of a bit of an obstacle. Him going to Mongolia, she was fully supportive. But it still creates an obstacle because of course he's gone for a lot of the stuff with the baby. And that stuff that she had to learn to do on her own. I like how Bob answered the phone. You could tell they were having fun and silly.
Good job. Let's see if he knows the pattern.
What's his name? Cab? Yeah, he could be a good trick writer. That was a good idea she had, especially because, you know, Georgie said that Natalie apparently is looking for trick riding horses, so he could be an extra trick riding.
Okay, I believe you. I think he's had enough for today. Why don't we try first thing in the morning?
Okay.
Yeah, give him a break. Call the owner. Suggest that he... How Lou was stupid when she and Peter ended it. It was a stupid idea. So that's why you feel so bad, because you know it was a stupid idea. Just like Jake was stupid for saying he was going to go to Mexico without Mallory. Sorry about the sirens. First Tuesday of the month, they run them at 10 a.m. They usually go for a couple minutes. Although they did start a little early, because it's, as of right now, it's about 10:11. So they probably started around 10:10 or so. But it's like, kind of little late, but whatever. There was one time the sirens went off. It was like I think it was like a random day, like back in July or something. It was really warm, perfect weather. And the sirens went off. And I was just like, what's going on? And they admitted later that, yeah, it was an error. I guess like they had reset something or whatever. But yeah, it was a perfectly beautiful day. No reason for the sirens to go off. It wasn't the first Tuesday of the month. And I was just like, why is that going off? If any of you have the same thing, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, I thought about that last week. I was like, oh yeah, pretty soon we'll have the sirens going off. And of course, here I am filming and the sirens are going off. So hopefully it's not real loud for you guys, but yeah, that's true.
Well, first elbow, it's easy. Nice.
That's loud.
Good. Broken heart.
Didn't take you long to jump on a Mitch though.
Mitch. How do you feel about that?
You read my texts, and now I can never trust him.
That's not necessarily true.
Yeah. Well, you can't have a relationship without trust, can you?
Said,
What is this?
oh, Jake's back.
Tour through London.
I mean, Jake is right. She doesn't mind her business. She does talk all the time. But that's the thing is, when you love someone, you look past their flaws. You love them in spite of those flaws, you know? Like, yeah, Mallory talks all the time, wavers on everything. Although, you know, he did point out she wavers on everything, so is she going to waver again on the marriage? Maybe she is fine with it this time. But I like how he said, I just wanted to be with you. If you wanted to get married and we spend the rest of our lives traveling, that's fine with me. Just as long as I'm with you. So I'm glad to kind of hear that because, you know, as I've said, yeah, I know that there are some people who they get married and they want to settle down and have kids. But I like how he was like, you know what, if we spent the rest of our lives traveling, I would be okay with that as long as we're together. I watch Doctor Who, and the doctor fell in love with, the doctor's an alien, in pretty much in like human form, but he's an alien, and he fell in love with a companion named Rose Tyler, who's my favorite companion, and he let her go so that she could have like a human life, could get married, start a family, pretty much with like a doppelganger of himself, a half-human version of himself. But the thing is, he never really gave her the choice, and that was something that always bugged me. He made the decision for her. She was perfectly happy being with him, even if it meant they spent the rest of their lives together traveling the stars, you know, going through all of time and space. I think she would have been okay with that, because she had said that she wanted to stay with him forever. So he made a decision, which again, I didn't like, based on what he thought she wanted, and he didn't even talk to her about it. She would have been happy just being with him. It's the same like what Jake was saying. He's happy just being with Mallory. Let the chips fall where they may.
So Natalie is interested. All we have to do is send her a video of Georgie doing the standing hip drum on Tab, and she'll buy him.
Well, it's now or never. The owner's getting pretty antsy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was saying. Why didn't they mention
Ready,
to the
Georgie?
owner about the trick writing school buying him? He still gets the money.
Let's do it.
Probably because an auction the price figures get more, but
Boy.
Jack's giving her away. She just happened to have that white dress on her. Because apparently I know that she had said something when they had talked about getting engaged. She was like, yeah, we're just gonna go to the courthouse or something and get it done. Or something to that effect. Which, Lou and Jack were like, what? But whatever they set up something fast. So obviously she just said, hey, we're gonna get married. Call a preacher. Maybe it was like the next day or something. But still, I'm just like, that was awfully fast. But I like how Georgie saw Lou and Mitch holding hands and she smiled. So she obviously is accepting that. I think that's kind of her starting to move on. And so now hopefully Tab will be purchased. Because I like that Amy said Natalie was interested. So Tab could be a trick riding horse and not have to worry about going to auction and going to the... That still seems kind of odd though, just to bring Mallory and Jake back for like 2 episodes. To like bring them back and then... Because, obviously they're leaving. My guess is that they're both going to go to Mexico together. But the thing is, when she wanted to speak to Jake and he had shown up and was kind of blowing her off, then I'm like, dude, why do you automatically assume that because she doesn't want to get married, she doesn't want to be with you? People always seem to assume that. It's like, just because they don't want to get married doesn't mean that they don't want to be with you. Maybe they just don't want to get married. But they still like you and want to be with you. Like I said, people break up at the drop of a hat nowadays. Maybe they just don't want to get married right then, but they'll get married in a couple of years and you're going to just like give it up. If you want to be with this person, be with this person. It shouldn't matter if it was marriage or what. If you want to be with that person. The movie He's Just Not That Into You, which I highly recommend. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Aniston are a couple, and they've been together 7 years, and, she was kind of talking to him about marriage, and he was like, why do we need to get married? He's like, we've been together 7 years. He says, I love you, I'm committed to you. And I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, they did end up getting married at the end of the movie, because she said to him, you're basically more of a husband to me than those real husbands are, because he was doing things that were kind of like a husband. And so it's like, as long as they're committed to each other, why do they have to have a piece of paper saying that they're committed? So, I didn't like Jake just automatically assuming that it was a breakup. It's like, do you want to be with Mallory? Because if you want to be with Mallory, then be with her, regardless of whether you get married or not. Because you just said that you wanted to be with her. So if you want to be with her, it shouldn't matter the circumstances. It shouldn't matter if you have a ring on your finger or not. Anyways, that's my little rant, which I hope you enjoyed. If so, hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you can at Lazy Cat Reactions. Also, I am on Buy Me a Coffee. Link is in the description. So if you can support me, I know times are tough for everyone right now. But if you can support me, I would appreciate it. $5 would help. And I will give you a shout out in a future video or a short. I had to think of that name. All I could think of was Insta Story, and that isn't correct. But yeah, I'd give you a shout out in a future video or a short thanking you for your support of my channel. And I will see you for episode 15, Forest for the Trees. Bye.